We respectfully acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional owners of the land on which we record this podcast, and recognise their continuing connection to the lands, waters, and community. We pay our respects to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and to the elders past, present, and emerging.
What was that?
Do you guys hear that?
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh.
Drummer in the area. Oh, hi one.
I wish I could contribute, but I can't click nor whistle.
Oh, Jesus. Hello and welcome to We'll Get It in Post. I'm your host, Dom Hennequin.
I'm Amy Bryans.
And I'm Curtis Mason.
Today we're talking about an
Willie.
oldie but a good... an oldie but a goodie. A goldie. It's 1961's West Side Story.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No.
No.
Dom?
No?
You okay?
No, you can't talk about that anymore. It's been cancelled.
We'll get it in post.
We'll get it in. Okay.
2021.
Okay.
Ah!
Whoa. Okay.
Huh.
No, it's 2021's West Side Story.
Yay.
Directed by Steven Spielberg.
Just this little underground up and coming.
Up and comer.
Yeah.
Pretty good debut from him.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Yeah.
I think it's high time we spoke about a musical film.
Yes.
Being musical theatre. Buffs.
We do love a bit of MT.
performers, Directors.
Assistant directors.
Set dresses. I'm not sure. Oh, no, you're an actor. You're an actor.
Yeah.
What was that?
Okay. Oh, I'm having a lot of trouble this week. We're also joined by our producer, Jono.
Hi.
Baby John.
Baby
White.
John.
Baby Johnny.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hello. So that's what we're talking about this week. Before we get into it, look, I don't know much about West Side Story, even though I saw it so that we could review it. But Jono, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on in this film? What's it about?
Sure. So, love at first sight strikes when young Tony spots Maria at a high school dance in 1957 New York City. Their romance helps to fuel a fire between the warring Jets and Sharks, two rival gangs vying for control of the streets.
Wow. 1957 New York City. That brings back memories for me.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I was only 3.
So this film, it's starring Ansel Elgort, Rachel Zegler, and a cast of kind of a lot of newcomers, except pretty much for Elgort and Rita Moreno, who was in the original, won an Academy Award for playing Anita. And then obviously it's directed by Steven Spielberg and written or adapted by Tony Kushner, who did Lincoln. He wrote Angels in America. Very accomplished writer. So I guess overall, what did we think about this film? And I guess what was everyone's first impressions when you heard that they were going to remake West Side Story?
You speak, Kane.
So West Side Story is, like many people, one of my favourite shows. And yeah, for a musical theatre fan, there's actually not a lot of musicals I actually really love. But the ones I do love, such as this one, I tend to be quite sort of very purist about them and very hesitant and resistant to change, especially when, in my opinion, the movie musical scene has not been very decent in this millennia.
For a while,
So yeah, when I heard about the remake, instantly cynicism, doubt, concern, and even a level of disinterest, to be honest. But
So you were optimistic.
no, honestly, there's so many musical movies I haven't seen in the last few years, which I think if you didn't know me well, you would just assume that I would have. Just because, they genuinely don't get my attention much anymore because there just hasn't been a good one in so long. But that was, I suppose, somewhat assuaged when the trailer came out. The trailer did actually get me hyped. I thought, wow, this could actually be, the comeback of musical movies, this could actually be a good one. So that was I went in cautious but optimistic and hopeful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kurt?
I was ready to love again.
Okay. Kurt, what about you?
When I first heard about this film being remade, I thought it was awful. I thought it was an awful idea. Spielberg had never attempted a musical before. He had attempted a musical, and the pin was pulled back in the 80s, I believe.
So attempted was the operative word, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so I just thought, God, this could not be good, especially trying to put like a teeny bopper heartthrob in the form of Ansel Elgort in the lead role as Tony. I had heard him sing on some night shows before and thought that he sounded average at best. So I wasn't looking forward to it until I saw the trailer, and I cried when I saw the trailer. And then I cried multiple times throughout the film.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I've got to say I was very, very similar to that. I was just like, why? And what can you do with it would be my biggest question. And we must remember that when the hype around this was kind of starting to heat up, because this was sort of this was kind of put away for a year or so.
Yeah. Filming wrapped up in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like due to the pandemic, but also I think due to a few different issues, potentially. But by the time it came out, it was in a year that we had other things like In the Heights and other films that I thought would have taken the light a little bit more and had a chance to be potentially more innovative in the musical sort of movie category.
Yeah.
And yet here we are. Yeah. Pretty much near, by the time this kind of comes out, it'll be Oscars season. It'll nearly be Oscars night. And I suspect that this is going to have a pretty decent showing there. And In the Heights is nowhere in the conversation.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this. So this has been framed from the beginning as a reimagination instead of a remake. Did broadly it live up to that for you too?
I think so, yes. I think that the original version is showing its age. I think especially when it comes to the singing and the casting. And I just loved hearing that live singing, and I loved seeing that the people that were playing the parts, that they were representing the cultures and backgrounds of people that they actually are a part of and that they know. And I loved that. I really loved seeing those casting. They shouldn't even be choices, those casting corrections, I guess.
Yeah.
And just beautifully shot. I loved the cinematography and the harking back to the original, and this to me, I loved it. This to me is Amy's baby. This movie, this is something that's very close to her heart, just in general. So I'm very interested to hear her thoughts.
I don't know if I would call it a reimagining, because interestingly, I think it actually was quite purist in terms of how much it sort of retained from the original. I would probably more so call it a revitalization of the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they took a lot of what was at the core of the original film and the original stage play and just, gave it a fresh, beautiful lick of art design. The costumes were stunning and most of the time actually quite muted, other than a few select moments. The lighting was almost theatrical at so many times.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. As Curtis said, it sounded great. The vocals were awesome. And it was cast really well. Yeah. I thought the whole cast was strong. And it was really nice to see the decisions of the film. It seemed on the whole quite secure in what it was, and that didn't feel the need to cast as many bankables or as many names as it possibly could.
Oh yeah, there's like really no one in there except for Ansel and I guess Rita Moreno, but I don't think she's.
Oh, and James Corden.
Yeah, well, his cameo in this is
the ambassador of movie musicals.
Yeah.
But even those two, Ansel's sort of a name. Like he's up and coming. I guess Baby Driver is his big thing. And Rita Moreno sort of, famous in the context of West Side Story and musical theatre, but you wouldn't call her a name and, just the everyday moviegoer. And West Side has always been sort of a story that is there for, the up and comings.
Yeah.
New dancers that have just graduated from, dance school. And it's just great to see all of these new faces on the screen. And I loved in particular the leaders of both of the gangs, casting wise.
We'll definitely get to that. So this, you touched on it before, this sort of revitalization or remake, whatever you want to call it, definitely goes through a bit of a checklist, I found, to fix a lot of things. And there's a lot of stuff that Tony Kushner has also added, and he may be recognised at the Academy Awards for adapted screenplay with this, where, but just in the opening scenes of this film, which I thought the opening number was sensational and really like the absolute, one of the highlights of the film. Like it was such a strong opening in that it gives you so much more context than the original does.
Yep.
The original, even though it's filmed, the opening's filmed in the streets of New York somewhere, like there's not a lot of context. It really, they could be filming it on a stage for all we know. Whereas this, the visuals really do tell the story, and the fact that like a lot of these shops in the neighborhood that they're going around used to be an Irish pub, and now it's, a Puerto Rican sort of play, or, and on. It really gave it a new type of, I don't know, it brought us into the story and a little bit more into what's actually going on here.
Yeah.
They're not just spraying sharks on the wall or jets on the wall. They're spraying, like they're painting over the Puerto Rican flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other things did, aside from the casting and stuff, did it try to do to kind of like fix the original?
Sure. Well, I guess to expand on what you just said, it did try to give it a little bit of more real world context. It took it out of the, just sort of the fantasy isolated situation that is often the musical theatre setting. It opens essentially with an image of gentrification.
Yeah.
These buildings are being knocked down to make way for
Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Yeah, for rich people. And I guess that just, it raises the stakes and brings forward the ideas that are already present in the story for both of these gangs. So instead of being gangs that are fighting for their little, scrap of land because they're young and they don't really know what else to go and they're feeling displaced, now they're feeling displaced because they are literally being pushed out of their homes. I think it puts the two teams on a little bit more of an even playing field.
Yeah. From what you had said to me, though, Aim, you didn't really enjoy the over-explaining and over-exposition of the opening, though.
I loved the opening. Yeah. I didn't like the dialogue that followed the opening.
Right, okay.
So as I just said, it beautifully showed, not told us that story. You understood it instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The moment you saw that Lincoln Center image and then it panned up over to the top and you had the wrecking ball and the building being torn down, it's like, great, got it. Good visual storytelling. Steven Spielberg is very good at that. And then the rewrites of the original script are added, and sometimes they will pay off and sometimes they don't. There's this interesting weaving in and out of the original script versus the new additions. And it does go into multiple times some very explicit explanations of what we already saw. We're being kicked out of our homes. We have nowhere to go. And, your dads, who don't have jobs are deadbeats. They're going to get kicked out. I'm like, okay, we get it. Thank you so much. This movie's going to be long as it is. Let's keep the show. Let's keep the show moving.
I want another musical number. Let's go.
Yeah.
I agree with that. There's a lot of extra. There's also a lot of extra scenes, a lot of extra talking, and some of it works, some of it doesn't. If we then fast forward to sort of, we get a lot more context. Where I did think it works was there's a lot more context around Maria, Bernardo, and Anita. In this, like we get to learn so much more about Bernardo.
I loved that. I loved that so much. Just having his boxing posters put up on the wall inside the apartment.
He's an actual fighter. That's what he does.
I really loved that.
And instead of working in a clothes shop, as is the original, and a couple of very famous songs take place in that clothes shop, now Anita dreams of owning a clothes shop. and instead she's sewing and fixing clothes out of her own home in this film. And they replaced that clothes shop setting with a couple of alternatives in this film.
And the dynamic between Bernardo, Maria, and Anita, specifically between Bernardo and Maria, Bernardo played by David Alvarez and Maria played by Rachel Zegler, was really believable and added a lot more like depth to their dynamic, which is important to do early on because, you know, spoiler alert, they're not around each other that much throughout the film, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's West Side Story. It's Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
If you don't know where it's going by now, you know.
Let's talk about the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets in this I found were more aggressive and believably threatening than in the original film. Even the dance style, I mean, like the Jerome Robbins estate has all these rules about like you have to literally use pretty much all the same exact dance moves in every production of West Side Story, no matter what it is. And it seemed like they still pretty much did that, but the characterization of it changed so that it wasn't as jarring to watch boys doing ballet, basically beautiful ballet, and then having to believe that they're going to like, I don't know, stab you in the next scene.
Sure.
And yet I thought for the most part, these guys achieved it, led by Mike Faist as Riff. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. They looked great. The actors they chose, their costumes were awesome. We'll get into the choreography later. I'm not sure I 100% agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I think there were moments, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get to
they did move. They moved extremely well when they actually danced. Yes, but yeah, for me, as we kind of already touched on, obviously the Sharks were the ones that really needed the fixing and the expansion of character.
Oh man, when you do it in high school, as I did, I played Chino.
Yeah.
The Sharks and the Jet Girls are the worst places to be because they have nothing to do.
Nothing. And the Jets get so many songs on their own.
Yeah.
You know, they get crupkey and cool, and when you're a Jet, they literally get so many songs. So yeah, they've kind of always until this version, they've always definitely had the screen time there. So I don't think there was as much to sort of fix as the Sharks required. But I suppose what they did do is, they did feel a little bit less like dance boys plucked off the stage and
Literally,
put onto the screen. You know, as we were saying, the old one, it just does feel a little bit dated now.
It does. And even the way that they speak, hey, it's like that, oh, what are you doing? Like,
yeah. And
it feels a bit more genuine and a bit more raw and real now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially helped by Mike Faist's performance. The first time I saw him, I was like, oh, whoa, okay, that was not what I was expecting in terms of who's going to play Riff. But he blew my expectations out of the water. The first time I've actually ever felt sorry for Riff.
Yeah.
After ever seeing, live stage productions, I've seen the original film version, and this was the only time that I ever saw some sort of motivation and some sort of internal struggle, as opposed to just being a naughty boy. You know what I mean?
100%. He's a guy who is out of options.
Yeah,
there is
absolutely.
no all of the Jets and the Sharks. They're fighting against each other, but there's a bigger, the whole world is crumbling. They're out of options.
He says to Tony in their opening scene together, you're too deep for me now, Tony. You know who you are. I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't care who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is my place as the leader of this group, and my identity is just tied to my territory.
Yeah.
My dad's a deadbeat. I'm going to be a deadbeat. This is my grasp for meaning.
Get over it. Get on with it.
Yeah, and you want to go after a job in a life like a soft boy.
Tony, come on, Tony.
The Sharks have jobs. We see it in the opening scene.
Yeah.
Like they come out of the shops that they're working in, and you've got these these deadbeat kids. What is it that the office says to them in the first scene? Like, all of the men got out of this place and moved on, except for your dads.
Yeah.
Like you're the kids of the deadbeat dads, and it's sad.
Let's talk about Tony, played by Ansel Elgort. Obviously, there's been a real cloud around this film and around him because of some pretty serious allegations that have come up and have not gone anywhere conclusive, but still, at least certainly for me, and I'm sure a lot of people, it was just a awkward kind of thing hanging over the film. But trying to just look at his performance in this, I mean, Tony and Maria in some place, but Tony especially is a tough part to nail and play.
There's not much depth to his character in terms of the writing.
It's extremely underwritten.
Yeah.
And in 2021, you're trying to sell a love at first sight, Romeo and Juliet moment that is filmed so beautifully in this, was in the original, but like it's what else can you do
Just
with
because
it?
you're right that he's gone to jail doesn't mean that you can believe that he's gone to jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So they've tried.
Yeah.
They've really tried to add a bit more to him.
yeah, I don't know if that worked.
Well, it's just that it was, and touching on what Amy was saying in the opening, like it was explained to us. There's no new song. There's no new thing that we were shown. There's nothing else going on except him literally sitting down and explaining it to Riff and really referencing it and then explaining it to Maria later on.
Totally.
That he's done this really bad thing, basically.
I think at first, the first time I saw it, I thought that I liked the addition of, Tony being on parole, because my initial sort of impression was, okay, they're sort of bringing out and emphasizing something that was already there in the original script, which is this idea that Tony has this underlying violence that he's trying to, get on top of. But the more I've thought about it and sat with it, I've decided that I don't think it was a necessary addition, mostly because I think what it takes away from Tony in this version of the film is his innocence and his loss of innocence that comes when he kills Bernardo.
Yeah.
Yeah? Can we really believe that a dude that spent a year in jail now suddenly has this, romanticized idea of the world where he can reunite the two gangs and make them friends because he loves Maria?
Yeah, yeah.
That only worked because, he was innocent.
Yeah.
And young. I just don't believe that a dude who's just spent a year in jail and would be around some of the worst juvenile delinquents in the world in that time would really have believed that coming out of it. And would he even be capable of an innocent love like Maria after getting out of jail? Jail would steal his innocence. So I think that little story.
They should have had him beating up some other kid, and then he sees Maria. And he's like, "Oh, hold
he
on."
drops the kid.
Yeah.
He's-
Has a flashback to, and he sees that guy
So I don't think it was necessary. Yeah.
At least it follows the trope of the guy going to jail and then getting out, killing someone, and then going and having sex with his girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoa.
Overall, though, with Ansel, it's already a part you're trying to fix. How did I was actually kind of surprised by his singing voice and by his
I was too.
dancing. I didn't know he could dance.
Yeah.
But
I really liked him.
I really did too.
Yeah. I thought he sounded great. I thought he looked great.
Yeah.
I did think he was beautiful with her.
He had a bit of deer in the headlights going on, but for his character, I think it worked.
I'm cool with it. Yeah.
Looking out.
Yeah. You can't see this right now, but
Maria.
yeah, Curtis
You
is,
can if you watch the
is
YouTube.
On that note, check out our YouTube.
yeah, smash that like button. So you guys
Maria.
why are you doing Norman Desmond?
Maria.
I don't know. So did you buy the Tony Maria sort of chemistry?
Absolutely.
Oh yes, hook, line, and
But
sinker.
90% due to her.
She was something else.
She made me cry every time she was on
Let's talk about Rachel Zegler.
Yeah.
So, this is a person who is fresh to a Hollywood set and basically just out of high school when she's filming this.
Speaking of Oscars, surely in the running for Best Supporting. Well,
She may be nominated. She won't win.
Yeah.
yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she was beautiful. She was. You have to protect her.
I saw it the first time with you, Dummy, and the second time with Curtis.
Yeah.
And
What?
when Rachel Zegler came on screen, literally in the first scene she was in, she wasn't even singing. She was just standing there trying on the white dress. And Curtis, I look over and the man's just glazed with tears. Just because she existed on the screen and she was perfect and she was innocent and she was beautiful and she was just
incredible.
so right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought like again, with her interactions with Bernardo, it raised Maria's like how feisty she was and how independent she was. I'm not sure that I completely bought that. Like, I don't know if we need this much extra background on Maria.
Yeah, there were many moments like that in the film.
But
like,
it did at least, show at least some more of her acting range so that she wasn't sort of, pigeonholed into this ingenue the entire film.
She doesn't just come on to sing beautifully. She actually,
Yeah.
But I do worry with her just as an actress. I hope that there's a bunch of things lined up for her next because you don't want her to fall into that, Emmy Rossum, not that she was great in Phantom of the Opera, but, that kind of pretty girl that's in a musical film and then like, I don't know, you see years later on some small TV show and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Who's this person been?
I would love to see her go into the same category of actor and career progression as someone like Ana de Armas. From Knives Out, who then went into No Time to Die and had an amazing cameo in that movie and has some amazing things lined up. I see that sort of
She's doing a film about Marilyn, isn't she?
Yes. Yeah. I see that sort of future for Rachel, just based on her range.
She's got my vote.
Yeah.
Let's quickly switch to the Anita in this film, played by Ariana DeBose. This is a performance that, has been hailed, right? I was hearing lots of buzz before I even saw it and I was like, all right, I need to see it, and it really does leap off the screen and at this point is the front runner to sort of win the supporting actress Oscar. What do we think of her?
Yeah.
This is someone who has really come up fast over the years. She was in the ensemble of a few Broadway shows, including Hamilton. She was in The Prom, starring James Corden.
James Corden's in this movie too.
Yeah. No, he is. Yeah,
He's
Rita
dark.
Moreno when she sings Somewhere. That's James Corden. Yeah. But I think for me, she can sing, she can dance, and she can act.
Yeah, man, she can dance.
And
She America, surely, one of the absolute highlights of the film, and in large parts due to her.
it's the number you're waiting for, and everything came together in that moment. Her performance, she commanded that performance, which is really difficult to do when you're not on stage. On stage, I can tell you when someone's commanded a huge theatre of people. That's really something. But in a film, there's so much that's not in your control, and there's so much that needs to work for you to look at that one person and go, they are in control of all the crazy things that are happening to them, around them right now. And this was her in this number.
Absolutely.
And then we have Rita Moreno. Now, this is the legacy of the original West Side Story film. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for playing Anita in that film. She's a legend, and it's very interesting what they've done with her in this film. They've given her Doc's drugstore, basically, and given her a backstory that she was married to him. And it's quite, I think that was probably the most interesting thing, and interesting how the dynamic of the Jets and the Sharks with her, how that affected it. So I thought that was interesting. But I will say there's also a couple of other controversial things, I would argue, that Rita Moreno gives a lovely performance in this, I thought, but is involved in. I'll go through them and you tell me what you think.
Sure.
I think the first one for me is Something's Coming. So here's Tony. So Tony works in the drugstore with her, and he starts to sing Something's Coming. You hear the music, dun, 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 dun. It's fading up. You're like, okay, cool. And it's meant to be Tony's moment in my head. The stage show and the original film, he's thinking to himself. It's meant to be
Romeo's prophecy.
Yeah.
It's this supernatural. This is bigger than the war. This is bigger than jail.
Yeah.
This is bigger. I am having this, divine intervention moment of this. The life-changing thing is about to happen to me.
Yeah.
And what do they do? What do they reinterpret it as, Dom?
Well, Rita is still there. I just love that
Rita's chilling.
It felt like everything was like the camera moves, the set moving away. Like everything was trying to move away from her.
Yeah.
And she just kept like
You can almost
moving
imagine.
into the frame.
Tony's like, could be. And she's there with a cigarette. Who knows?
So she's trying to like backup sing for him.
Yeah.
Could be.
To be-
Could.
To be
Who
to be-
knows? Who knows? This is a solo.
get off. Explicitly, the prophecy becomes instead a conversation between Tony and his employer, Rita's character, who instead of the role is usually Doc, you know, the white male older man who runs the store, and instead it is now the role of Valentina,
Yep.
who was the wife of Doc, who was passed away. It was a Puerto Rican and American marriage, you know, therefore it can happen.
It can work.
It can
guys.
work. And she's running the store for him in his death. So, yes, instead of Tony having this prophetic moment where he's going to meet Maria, instead Spielberg justifies the song as a conversation of hope between Tony and Valentina.
Yeah.
And he's this man who's got out of jail who is ready for his life to begin and could be, who knows. Instead of this, I can sense something. Instead is, could be, who knows. I'm so earnest and excited about my life and where it's going to go now that I'm out of jail.
Hey, Valentina.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, who knows?
And Valentina's
I could be out.
enthusiastically nodding away. And, you know, it is a choice, and it's a clear choice. It's clear why they've done it, and it probably worked for some people, but similar to you, Dom, it did not work for me. And it's so common in movie musicals for directors to self-consciously want to justify why people are
Yeah.
breaking out in song.
Well, let's go to the other one because it's another. Let's just hear a bit of that, Jono. See if YouTube blocks us. Oh. So this is Ansel. So he's singing this to Rita. Yeah, but the whole song.
Kind of ruins it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the magic?
Where's the magic?
Instead, he's rolling around on a pinball table. You know, it's just.
Yeah.
But
He's like Belle in the
Love
opening of. He's on the
yeah.
on the
That-
ladder thingy.
We should do an episode on that movie.
But Spielberg,
More to come.
he actually, it's frustrating, and I found this a couple of times in the movie. It's not that he missed the point. He understands the purpose of the song. He just chose to twist it. There is this stunning moment at the end of the song where Tony comes to the front. The whole song I kept, you know what, I actually would have been okay with him starting the scene like that and then getting out of Doc's drugstore.
That's what I thought was
Yeah.
Gonna
happening.
happen. Every time he got close to that door, I'm like, he's going
Get
out.
out of there.
He's going to look at the stars. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
It didn't. But this moment, if we listen here, the shot is beautiful. He's in the doorway. He is lit up blue. You know, he looks
Yeah.
like something, you know, from another dimension. And it's this warm orange lighting behind him. And it does look supernatural.
Yeah.
It's one of the most theatrical shots, technically,
Yeah.
in the film. Rita Moreno is in the background of the shot, but that's okay.
Yeah. This is the thing. It was beautifully shot and it could have worked, but I think that
Could
we needed
be.
Tony to take over and have a moment to himself at some point in the song.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah.
He didn't for the whole song. The other one though was when he's singing Maria, I think it is. And he's walking around and it's that self-conscious moment with the janitor or whoever is coming through the basketball courts or wherever he is.
Yeah.
Looking at this kid singing, going, oh,
Yeah, so for those playing
Again.
at home, the song Maria, you know, the song that everyone makes fun of, Maria. He starts singing it, and it looks like Spielberg's going to fully commit
go for it.
to the full romance, to the nostalgia, to the
musical,
cheesiness,
nothing
to the musical,
matters.
to the love, to everything. Tony turns around and sings to the camera, Maria, and the floodlights come up behind him like a stage show. And then next shot, we see the janitor who's flicked the floodlights on in the
Yeah.
basketball court, and he
Yeah.
walks past going, who's this crazy kid singing
Yeah.
on the street? We're in a musical. Get it, audience? Isn't it weird that everyone's singing? And then the next shot cuts to a little old lady feeding the pigeons, and, you know, Tony bursts past her, and, you know, he runs through the pigeons, and once again, she's looking at him. Oh, what's this kid doing? Once again, Spielberg. Get it, guys? We're watching a musical. Isn't it
Yeah.
funny?
Yeah.
Wink. I didn't like it. Curtis, you didn't mind it though, did you?
I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
I've heard a few reviews that didn't mind it.
Yeah.
Especially non-musical people were just like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally, the whole idea of a musical, often I find myself thinking, you know, can we just turn that down, Johnny? Is that all right?
I'm enjoying it.
It's a bit distracting. I find myself the whole time thinking, you know, why are they singing? These like brutal people that are going to go into a battle with one another.
Yeah.
Why are they singing? So I just kind of love that. The hegemony of it all.
Okay.
Where the audio is coming from a visible source or the lighting
Is
in
it
this.
diegetic?
Yes,
Is
that's
it
right.
non-diegetic?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Where it's tying in together something that's actually happening.
Sure.
And
That could
with
be
the-
our next spin-off podcast. We kind of did it a couple of weeks ago with Mad Max and like, where's this guy plugged into?
Yeah,
Where's the power coming? We'll do that
Totally.
for
Yeah.
musicals. What are the logistics of this scene? I want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think for me, I do appreciate. Well, I don't appreciate it because I don't like it. I understand the joke and I understand why it's clever. And I think for me, in answer to the question you ask, and I say this to everyone, you know, why are they singing? Yeah, and you know why they sing? Because it's a musical.
Yep,
And the mode of storytelling is music. And Maria is such a romantic song. And for the whole thing to be underpinned by comedy did frustrate me.
Yeah.
I think if it had happened maybe once, even twice, I could have pushed it. But it kept happening because even after the birds, then it was he'd look to a window and he thought Maria would come out, and it was this little girl, and then he turned to the next window and he was waiting for Maria to come out, and then it was a grumpy old lady,
Yeah,
and it
there's
just
something
kept
about
going.
it. Like
Just kept going.
this whole film hinges on believing once again the Romeo and Juliet story, which is so unlikely and has all the, you know, love at first sight, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's just get swept up in it.
It's already hard to believe, but you know, we can do it. But
Yeah.
it's also even harder every time you keep reminding us like how stupid is this? How
Yeah.
you know, just have some faith in it. All right, I got two other controversial changes to discuss. One is cool. The number cool was completely kind of, spoiler alert, recontextualized around, like it was all centered around something different, and it's normally one of my favorite numbers in the original movie, in the musical. What did they do, Amy, and what did you think?
Yeah. So it's interesting because the scene before that was One Hand, One Heart. And like many of the best moments in the film, it was just so simple. And as we were talking about with Maria, they just embraced the romanticism of it all. So I was literally wiping the tears out of my eyes still from the last scene because I was just so happy with how beautiful it was. And then it cuts to this scene where they're actually the Jets are buying a gun in preparation for the Rumble.
Really focused on the logistics in this.
I know,
film.
they got to explain it all. Everything needs to be.
Do you take cash?
Yeah,
Do you
literally.
Can
Yeah.
I get this on
Yeah, they did it.
Dinah's card?
Your dad was all right.
I was-
We'll do it.
I was expecting like Jack Nicholson, you know, in The Departed to like
easy
come
peasy.
into the bar.
Yeah.
They're going for full.
Yeah.
This isn't for you, kid. It's for your dad.
See, like, it's just so. Anyway, yeah. So the Jets have bought a gun just in case, you know, the Sharks bring one to the Rumble.
Yeah.
And then there's this little gun violence message moment where they're all going pew pew with the gun, and then Tony comes into the scene.
Get this guy out of here. He's not in the Jets.
Tony enters the scene to tell Riff to stop the Rumble.
Yeah, he's trying to break up the whole Rumble at this point.
And then suddenly you hear the music of Cool just coming in under the
Shabba-daboo.
And I was sitting next
We're
to
going to do
Dom.
it for you now. Let's move this. Let's move this table.
I was like still half crying from the previous scene. I
Yeah.
think I could just hear it. I know. I just in the cinema.
Oh, you chill. Like, I felt a chill in the seat next to me as soon as the song started and Amy realized,
It was happening.
oh, it's happening now. And I'm not.
I'm okay with that song happening before the Rumble. It's where it was in the stage show.
Yeah.
But what I wasn't okay with personally, a lot of people probably liked it. I think Kurt quite liked it. Was they turned the song into a character moment and a relationship moment between Riff and Tony. And it became them fighting over the gun. It was Tony singing the song saying, be cool, drop the gun. And the song ends with them, hear that? Amazing music. It ends
For
with
those
Tony.
listening, Curtis and I are dancing right now.
They're doing the choreography that wasn't in this scene that should have been.
Sorry. Yeah.
So yes, it becomes this fight between the two besties over the gun, and
Yeah.
of course it ends with Riff taking the gun. Tony doesn't manage to get the gun out of his hands.
Yeah.
Even though he had multiple opportunities, and
It was a change. It was a change. I thought it was, I thought it had its moments, but it was a change. Did it need to happen? I'm not sure. I don't know. Did you like it, Kurt?
I quite did. I quite did. I did. I did. I did like it.
Okay.
I did like it. I felt that, I don't know, it's just, to me, cool, and you're going to hate me for saying this, but it's a movie, and I get what you were saying before about, the fact that you watch it is because it's a musical. Yes, that is right. But when you're watching it on stage, you're watching it with a live band. When you're watching it on a screen, it's a different experience. And I don't think we can suspend our disbelief quite as much as we can in a theatre. And so I think that just having this long dance number serves no purpose in a movie in 2021.
Yeah, interesting. Look, we've got to move on because we're running out of time. The last thing I wanted to talk about, the last kind of controversial change, was Rita Moreno singing Somewhere. Now, this was kind of like...
Sorry. We'll get that in post.
Yeah, I don't know. It was beautiful, and it was in all the trailers, and it had a really kind of haunting quality to it. And when it started, I was like, oh, okay, she's singing it. Maybe she'll sing the first line. Once again, with the scene with Rita in it, she sung the whole song. Just her. I didn't agree with that. And again, it's we can't take away from this film the fact that we have seen another film version of this. We've seen, many of us have seen the stage version as well. So we've got, a reference of what usually happens and who usually sings what. But I thought it affected the ending, basically. And, the Maria and Tony relationship, this is usually their song, and it was just sung by Rita's character. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I'm on the same fence as you. I know that a lot of people would disagree with us on this one, but I actually thought it was beautiful the way it had her singing over the shots of, Anita crying at the police station after Bernardo's been killed, and then it cuts to the shots of Tony getting to...
Spoiler.
Tony getting to first base with Maria after he's killed him. After he's killed her brother.
Tony, spoiler.
Spoiler.
If they're going to milk the film in every single scene for as much as it's worth, then if you want Rita Moreno to sing the entire song, just tack like an extended final reprisal of the chorus onto Tony and Maria at the end. I think for me with Rita, like every time they used her, it worked to a point. And then I just wanted it to retreat back into what was familiar and nostalgic to me, and it didn't go there, and it wasn't what I wanted. But that's okay.
Kurt?
I, again, am going to disagree with both of you. I think that it represents quite a bit more than just trying to, offer something new. It is trying to offer something new in the sense of, I think having Rita Moreno do it is quite a poignant message. And I think that it represents potentially a few things, and you could probably speak to Spielberg about, exactly what he meant by it. But I think that some of the meaning behind it is about representation and how far we've come since the original film came out. And having her sing that as an 90-something-year-old Puerto Rican woman, and having her take that from, from the actors who were originally played by two white people. I think that's pretty powerful.
But if Rachel Zegler had sung it,
yeah. But I mean,
I agree with you,
it's not just that. It's like her age and
the legacy of that.
Yeah.
And maybe I think this was actually something Spielberg intended. On top of that is the fact that it was the older generation singing it.
Yep.
West Side Story has one prominent adult character in it, and that is that character. So it's that mourning of the struggles that she's watching this younger generation that she can't understand, and she's mourning the loss of, you know, her youth and her marriage and her love, and also mourning the struggles that Tony and Maria and all of the next generation are going through. So there is that layer of having the older character, and that is a fundamental sort of theme of Romeo and Juliet, is just the inaction of adults and the lack of adults in that story supporting these young people. They're very much on their own. They're trying to play, these kids are trying to be adults in an adult's world, and, you know, people suffer tragic consequences because of it. So, yeah, it makes some sense in that sense too, I think, having the older character sing it. But, yeah, I still don't 100% agree, but that's okay.
All right. We are at quiz time again.
Wow.
Yes.
West Side Quiz.
West Side
Dun-dun.
Quiztory.
Dun-dun.
When you're a quiz all the way.
From your first day in quiz. I can't. You're a quiz. All right. So, question 1. How much power does it take to fuel the flux capacitor in Back to the Future?
I have
Is it
no
like
idea.
10,000 gigawatts or something ridiculous?
I have no mememory for numbers.
I will
of
lock
any
in
kind.
one answer from both, please.
25 litres of petroleum jelly.
Damn, I think she might have me on this one.
Dumb.
Oh,
That was his- that was-
10,000 gigawatts or something.
1.21 gigawatts. Yeah, so close.
Yeah.
What was
One off.
It's 0
What was the first film to win Best Animated Feature, and in what year? This is worth 2 points.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Is that correct? Oh, we're locking our answer first. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I'm going to say in
To win.
19... Actually, no.
Best Animated Feature.
I'm just remembering that it didn't actually win. It got like these little complimentary 12 little mini Oscars. It was like a honorary thing.
Yeah.
Can we have any clues?
No clues. Do you want clues?
All right, I'm going to say...
Dumb clues?
I'm going to say...
I could use a clue, to be honest. Oh, I was going to say that. I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's it. That's the only clue.
All right. You're going to lock in yours? I'm going to say... Okay, I'm just going to say... I don't know, The Lion King. And I'm going to say in 1990... was it the year I was born? I think...
What year was that?
In 1992. No, I think it was just before Christy was born. I'm going to say 1994 or 5.
Dom.
I think I'm going to completely misinterpret Jono's clue. Because I don't know when the category was first introduced.
I feel like it
but
was Disney Renaissance, which makes me think Lion King. That's me. That's why
I
guessed
reckon
that.
I was going to do something like... I really don't know. I was going to say like Pinocchio. I don't know what year.
Okay. The answer is 2001 and Shrek.
Whoa!
That was the first best animated...
Feature. Well, the category didn't
Wow.
exist.
So
Yeah.
none
But I
of
didn't realize it was so recent
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
created that category.
Yeah.
So no, like Little Mermaid, Lion King, Beauty
No.
and the Beast, Aladdin.
No.
Wow.
So it became a thing when Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
that was when they started talking about, maybe
Yeah.
we should have a
Interesting.
whole other category. And not until 2001 did it become a thing.
Yes.
And also, like, you know, Toy Story didn't get anything. Like, all these films that were
Yeah.
coming up were like, oh my
Yeah.
God, we need to have a
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
for this. Yeah.
Now Pixar creates one film and it
I know.
somehow
The
wins
automatic,
12
yeah.
Oscars.
Somebody. Can we get like we need that as a
Well, it's
as
a cool
sound.
place.
Yeah.
I just have this very strong childhood memory of at the end of my VHS tape of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It showed like Walt Disney with 12 little mini Oscar
yeah. Yeah.
statues.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay, final question.
All right, and it's 0 all.
What is the number one most inspirational film according to the American Film Institute?
Jesus. God.
Trying to think of something all Americana.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something like Field of Dreams. I've never seen it.
I'm going to say, it's not actually. I'm going to say, I don't think this is right, but I'm just going to say The Colour Purple.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, of course, it's A
1946.
Wonderful Life.
I'm pretty
I want to
sure.
live again.
That is all Americana. I
Yeah.
should have guessed that.
Yeah.
Isn't that movie cancelled now?
Probably. I don't know what.
Oh, probably. Christ! The next movie we are going to talk about is cancelled.
Well, that's another episode of We'll Get It in Post. What do you think the critics are going to say that we can put on our poster for this week, Amy?
Sure. Well, in dedication to a song we talked about a lot today, There's a Place for Us, the critics will be saying, there is a podcast for us.
There you go.
That is, yep. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, the crowd goes mild.
I love you, Rita.
Curtis.
Just as dancing belongs on the stage, this podcast belongs at the top of the Spotify charts.
You're done.
Wow. He did
You
it.
are done. Dancers, let us. I say
Dances
us like
with
I'm
wolves.
a dancer.
Dances with,
Dancers,
with
let us unite against Curtis.
dances with CGI dogs. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that was no.
That's getting cut out.
Yeah.
That's going on the Patreon.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget. I think mine would say third time's the charm, fourth time, nope.
No.
What was the second? Is that the Alec Baldwin one?
What?
Is that the same movie?
What?
I don't know what I'm talking about. Was
It's
there an
ti-
Alec Baldwin West Side Story?
Because you're okay.
Curtis.
Is there? No, I'm thinking of A Streetcar Named Desire. Oh God!
If you want to see
Oh, God.
Curtis's full breakdown, make sure you sign up to our Patreon. Subscribe to our YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Spotify,
Oh,
and subscribe on OnlyFans. Wait, what?
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 Sign up for that.
Yeah, just seeing if you're listening. Thanks for joining us, and I don't think we're back next week.
No.
I think this might be it.
We've been
Just keep it cool.
We'll see you next time.
Keep it cool, listeners. Real cool. Pow.
Pow.
I think that's enough for me. Jono, you're filling in next week for me. I'm out. I can't believe this one best. This was
Done with it.
All right,
the
wait.
first best animated feature.
You think I know the fucking words to this?
7.
You don't start coming and they don't start coming.
Bend to the rules and I hit the ground running. Do it
There's
makes sense, not
a
your brain gets
place
stuck,
for
your head
us.
gets stuck.
Somewhere
So
a
as long we've
place
taken the
for
back
us.
streets, you never know if you don't.